In the intermediate troubleshooting scenarios, we're adding a second router, so now we have a total of 3 networks. We have the first network, VLAN 100 in yellow, using the 192.168.1.0 network, /26. And we have a second network between router 1 and router 2, that's a /30, 192.168.1.96. And our third network, we'll call VLAN 200, and its network ID is 192.168.1.64. And we're not doing any routing at this point, so in between router 1 and router 2 we have default static routes. So right now we have a problem where PCA is unable to ping PCB. So we can't get from A to B, so let's see if we can get from A to R1. And we can indeed get to R1, so let's try and see if we can ping R2. And R1 is telling us that it can't get to R2. So let's go take a look at R1 and see what's going on. And R1 through show CDP neighbors is indeed not connected to R2. So let's look at our interface, gig 000. And it looks right here, R1 is up but down. So the interface is turned on, but it's not seeing a signal from the other end. So let's take a look at R2. And R2 interface gig 000 is administratively down. So let's go ahead and fix that. Interface gig 000, no shutdown. So now that that's turned on, let's go back to PCA and we can check and make sure that it's working and try to ping that again. Might take a second for everything to sync up, and we are indeed pinging R2 gig 000. So now let's go ahead and try to ping PCB. And there you have it. In scenario 2, we see that PCA once again cannot ping PCB, so let's start again at R1 and just work our pings across until we find the problem. So now I'm going to ping 92.168.1.1, and I am able to ping R1, so we know we're good to here. Let's try R2 and see how that works. And we can ping R2 also. Let's try to ping gig 001 of R2 just to see how that interface is looking. And I can indeed ping all the way to here. So now we have a problem somewhere just with a couple of pings. We've identified the problem as being somewhere between R2 and PCB. So I could go to R2 and just confirm it. 92.168.1.94. And sure enough, we've got a problem between R2 and PCB. So let's take a look at the switch. And if I open up the switch command line, let's just make sure that both of these ports are both in VLAN 200 and they're both connected. So I'm going to issue the command enable show interface status. And let's widen this out so we can see it a little better. And in show interface status, we see that 01 and 02 are both connected and they're both in VLAN 200, so that's a good sign. So now let's go ahead and look at PCB and see what's going on with PCB. I can just type ipconfig, and it looks like PCB does not have an IP address. It's using a PIPA to get its IP address. So let me close this tab and go to the IP configuration tab. And sure enough, it does not have an address. So let's put that in there real quick. 192.168.1.94. My mask is 255.255.255.224. And my gateway is 192.168.1.65. I can close this again. And now let me see if I can ping 192.168.1.62. In scenario 3, once again, PCA cannot ping PCB. So let's take a look again and let's see if we can ping R1. So ping 192.168.1.1. And I am able to ping R1, so that's a good sign for PCA at least. Let's see if we can ping R2. And the ping to R2, we got 4 timeouts. So let's see what the problem is. So far we've got a problem somewhere between R1 and R2. Let's take a look at R1 and see if, well, let's take a look at PCA without going to another device. Let's see if we can ping this address of R1. And what this is going to tell me is whether PCA has its default gateway configured, or maybe there's a problem with gig 00 of R1. So let's figure out if it's one of those two. And I'm going to ping 192.168.1.97. Now if this ping fails, it's either a problem with this interface or PCA has its default gateway misconfigured, and that would cause it to not be able to ping other networks. Actually, PCA's subnet mask being misconfigured would do that as well. And we are not able to ping R1 gig 000. So let's take a look at R1. And I'll just go into the command line, enable show interface gig 000. And let's widen this out a little bit. And gig 000 is indeed up, it's connected, and it's got the proper IP address. So that leads me to believe that PCA's configuration is wrong. IP config, and look right here, we have the correct IP address, we have the correct subnet mask, but our default gateway is not configured. So let's go and fix that and see if that solves all of our problems. And I'll close this and back to command prompt, and let's see if I can bring back the command to 90. There we go. In scenario 4, once again, PCA cannot ping PCB, so we'll start again. We'll start small and work our way across the network until we find our problem. So ping 192.168.1.1, and in this case we're able to ping it. So let's try to ping R2. I'm going to try to ping 1.98, and I can ping R2. Let's try to ping 1.65. Let's just check and see if gig 001 on R2 is up, and it appears to be up. So now we have a problem somewhere between R2 and PCB. It could be the switch, it could be the PC. So let's go look at the switch next. And in the switch I want to do show interface status, and that will tell me about all my switch ports and their status. And indeed, port 02 is in VLAN 1, not VLAN 200. So let's go ahead and fix that. Interface FA0/2, switch port, access VLAN 200. D. And now let's try that ping again. And this might take a second. I'm going to hit fast forward so that port comes up more quickly. And let me ping 1.94. And there you have it. In scenario 5, PCA once again cannot ping PCB. So let's take a look and see if it can ping R1. And let's try to ping it with the right address. Okay, so we're actually pinging the right address this time, and it does not look like we're getting any success. Let's give it another second. I would not expect this to time out because I've already tried to send a ping across here. I should not be having ARP problems since I've already sent one ping from PCA. So this is definitely timing out. So let's go and take a look at R1. See what's up with R1. I'm already in enable mode. So let's do show interface gig 001. And R1 is indeed up and connected. It's got the right IP address. So we've got some type of problem here between PCA and R1. I could go back to PCA, and just for the heck of it, let's make sure PCA's IP address is correct, and it is indeed correct. So this is looking to me like some type of either a VLAN problem or a cabling problem, because the IP addresses on PCA and R1 are both correct, and they're both showing connected. So I'm either miscabled or I have a VLAN assignment here in switch 1. Well, I'm already here in router 1. So let's just do show CDP neighbors and see where I'm cabled. And show CDP neighbors tells me that I am connected to S1. The port of R1 that's connected to S1 is gig 001, and that's correct. But I'm connected to gig 01 of S1. It should be fast Ethernet 01. So let's go, and I'll just fix this real quick. I don't want to delete router 0. I want to click that again, and I want to delete this link, and let me put it back up. So FA01 to gigabit 001. I'll hit fast forward a couple of times so everything can sync up. And now let's try that ping to 1.94. And we are indeed pinging PCB now.